I had a good idea for how to start a podcast,
Okay.
but I can't remember what it was. It was going to be this. It was going to be funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely going to be funny.
Like, would I appreciate the funniness, or would it have been a cringe sort of funny?
No, I think it would get a laugh out of me. It'd get a laugh out of you. It'd probably get a laugh out of a couple of people
All right.
listening. But I haven't a clue what it is. So this we'll go with that. We'll go with what just happened.
Okay, so this is the intro.
Yeah.
Welcome. This guy's Connor. I'm Ash. You know it by now. Probably not.
I thought we weren't doing that anymore.
I'm just. It was such a. It's getting worse as we go on. So
Yeah.
it was a dodgy intro. You just wanting to make up for it at the end. We'll just start.
Yep. So the past couple of podcasts, I sort of had a list of games that I'd played, and didn't really get to talk about them because we just kept going off on tangents. And then obviously we did the 50th episode, which was that new thing. A lot of dead air as well. Just us going.
We were not prepared for that quiz.
No, potentially not.
Which I don't know if we should have briefly looked at the answers.
Well,
the
I
answers,
fucking
questions.
wrote the list. Well, I didn't write it, but I reworded some of them and stuff.
I don't know.
It's all on me, basically.
It was good that I wasn't prepared for it.
Pardon me.
But if I was a little bit prepared, I would have been able to fill the void with some funny commentary.
Yep. Sometimes, I'll be listening to the podcast and we'll have, a moment where we'll try to think of something, or I'm stuttering, as I am wont to do quite often, and like this.
Yeah.
And I'll just think to myself, it'd be good if our podcast just had, a running backing track. So people had something to listen to while we're not saying anything.
I think Danny said that as well. We should have a running backing track. And I was like, I could probably do that. But then I'd have to motivate myself. I'd have to do things.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Let's look at some royalty free music. If
Yeah,
we're gonna
exactly.
go down that route, or maybe I'll just.
It could just be because there's a really interesting psychology with music, right? Because you listen to the same song 5 times in a row and you're sick of listening to it.
Yeah.
But you play a video game and you listen to the Mario theme, which is 4 seconds long, over and over and over and over again. You never get sick of it. It gets stuck in your head. You enjoy humming along to it and shit, and
it's because
beating it on tables and shit.
The reason people like ABBA, which is a thing that it's a very recent thing. My mum went to go watch Mamma Mia Dos, the second one.
Mm-hmm.
It's just come out, and I was like, all right, cool. And she came out, was like, oh, it's brilliant. I'm like, yeah, it's fucking ABBA, so no, I don't think so. And then I was talking to your sister, and she went to go see a movie, and I was like,
oops, name me my phone.
I left my phone in a different room purely for that. But anyway, she went to go see a movie, and when she got back and she started messaging me again, I was like, was it a good movie? And she was like, yeah, it was alright. I was like, what did you go see? Mamma Mia 2? And I was like, fuck off.
Yeah,
her
and my mum loves sort of listening to ABBA together.
Yeah. And then she said, it was an okay movie. The music was really good. I was like, no, it fucking wasn't. It's ABBA. It's the same 4-chord structure that pop music has been using since the 60s.
Yeah.
It's super basic. The only credit I can give them, right, is that they have really good vocal discipline. Their vocal melodies, while not super technical or anything like that, you do have to have a good control over your vocal cords to sing it.
Yeah.
Which doesn't mean it's a complicated song or anything. It just means it's a good vocal melody. But everything else about it is it's the same 4 chords that every fucking pop song uses. And the reason I can't fault them for doing that, because it's proven to work time and time again. So why would you not? You know, you're a pop band. You're not like a progressive synth fucking indie rock band or anything, are you?
Yeah.
But it does me in when everyone talks about ABBA as being one of the greatest pop bands in the world. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm just being a pretentious music snob, or everyone else is just. Everyone else has got a passing interest in music, so that it don't really matter to them whether a song's been written well. Because I've always liked really complicated melodies and really smart writing in songs. like bands like Coldplay and like Radiohead and stuff like that, they've always fascinated me with how they can like write a chord, and like they just have such a brilliant understanding of how chords work and stuff like that. So they could play like a C major, but they can throw a few extra notes in it and upgrade that chord to something much more extravagant and amazing, and a chord that I've probably never even fucking heard of.
Yeah.
And like I just like that. And recently I've been listening to gent. A lot of people throw that word around these days for a genre of music, but it's like progressive, like guitar stuff, like no vocals, so like animals as leaders. And I found this guy that I like, and I showed you their song, one of the songs.
Yeah, I knew you'd bring that up.
It's called Pliny.
Mm-hmm.
And I just really like when you listen to a song with guitars in it, and you can just tell that the guy playing has like such a brilliant understanding of his instrument and a mastery.
Yeah.
And you just don't get that in ABBA or any other pop, any music on the radio that's on a pop station. Mm-hmm. It's all very basic and easy listening to because that's how it's designed. And it's just, I don't know, interesting that the psychology of music can extend to that. Like, so if you're really into music, you'll end up listening to the shit that I listen to. Or if you just listen to music to fill a void, your brain wants to listen to the same 4 chords over and over again in every other song.
Yeah.
Which reminds me of a really funny video. You don't know if you ever saw it. It was called
I know what you're gonna
The
say.
Axis of Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, you should. If you haven't seen that, you should definitely check it out. It's Axis of Awesome.
4 chord song. It's called.
Yeah, just 4 chord song, and they just they play the same chords over and over.
Yeah, I'd watch it.
Some minor adjustments here and there, but then they're just throwing lyrics from like 50 different songs.
Yeah,
and it all sounds, like it's right, obviously, because those songs. It just puts into perspective how many songs use that same.
If you're gonna watch it, I'd go and watch a live version of it. Not like go and find them live, but like watch a live video on YouTube.
I've only ever seen it live. I think that's probably the easiest.
There is a music video for it, but it just gets right into it.
Oh, right.
Because there's a whole skit around it. Whereas they're all like, oh, we've been a band for so many years now, we've never had a hit song, and then the guy on the piano's like, you know why it is this? Because we don't use the same 4 chords. And there's like a whole thing about it. But in their music video, he just immediately goes straight into, so do you guys know this one? He starts playing Journey and stuff like that. But it's good because it starts with playing Journey, and you're like, all right, so one song with those 4 chords. What's the next one? And he goes, it's so smooth, the transition. He transitions brilliantly into a fucking James Blunt song. Yeah. Or something like that, I think. And it really proves what I've just been saying for the past like fucking 5 minutes about 4 chords being in the song. Yeah.
So we got onto that because I was saying that video game music never gets boring, and then you said something about ABBA, and I'm not. I don't know what the point was.
The point is, the reason why your point was like video game music, you can listen to it over and over again even though it's simple. Mm-hmm. It's because it was written that way. It was written with a psychology behind it that. They want people because it's got to be in a game. People are going to play that game for hours and hours and hours, and the music's got to be interesting enough to capture our fucking interest, but also keep it. Mm-hmm. But it also has to be simple enough that it's not like a big fucking 20-minute song with like 100 instruments and the file's going to be massive. It's got to be just really simple and basic, and that was my point. Basically.
Although more modern games would use a big orchestral piece because file size isn't really a problem anymore.
Yeah, well, it depends on the game, really. Definitely. Like Uncharted has a brilliant soundtrack. Yeah. But it's not like...
It's interesting you bring that up because I was going to say it does depend on the context, because I used to have that Shipwreck wallpaper theme on my PS4, and it played some music from Uncharted, which is awesome, like sort of melancholic theme it has going on in the background. But I had to change theme purely because of that music, because I was so sick of hearing it. And it's a similar thing with the default music on the PS4. Like after hearing that for over a year, I just muted the main menu because I just couldn't listen to it anymore.
Yeah, I think modern games, their soundtracks are very situational as well. Like you've got to have context with it. Yeah. So if you just listen to that piano medley. On the, I don't know, you don't have the same theme that I've got, the one where it's all like sketched out.
I did, so I know what you mean, but I've changed that for an Abzu theme now. So.
Yeah, because I paid for that one. I saw it and I was like, that's brilliant, I'm paying this £2 for a theme, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, same.
And it had like a really beautiful melancholic piano medley. Mm-hmm. And I think the anniversary one they did as well, that's got piano medley on it.
Yeah, I've got that one as well.
I think there's two. One there's like a light themed one and a black one.
Yeah, one's black with like gold.
Yeah, I
etchings
think that's
on
the
it.
one I've got on at the moment. But I don't really spend a lot of time in the menu anymore.
Yeah,
Because I'll rest mode my PS4 like mid game.
I didn't know you could do that
Yeah.
until you told me like a couple of weeks ago.
Well, you didn't know you could just rest mode a game and
Yeah,
suspend it.
yeah, I thought it would close the game.
Oh no, I knew that right from the beginning of the PlayStation 4. What I recently found out was that the PlayStation 4 was designed to be in rest mode constantly because it uses like 0.3 kilowatts an hour or something.
Yeah, it's minuscule.
Yeah. So that's what I've been doing now. My PS4's never been turned off properly unless there was like a power surge or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
So it's always in rest mode. So I'll rest mode a game. You know.
It's crazy how much extra power modern consoles must have, especially the Switch,
Yeah.
to be able to just suspend. The 3DS can do it now as well. Actually, you can just suspend a game and then go fuck around in the menu while the game's just paused.
The Vita could suspend games as well, couldn't it?
Oh yeah, true. It just not so much now, but when it first sort of started happening, I was like, wow, what? How?
There's such a weird thing that happens where you transition from one console to the next version, and like you get so used to that new console doing things that you think back to the one before, and you're like, did that do that?
Yeah.
Because like, did the PS3 suspend apps? I don't think it did.
I think that happens with all things, really. Because like, do you ever remember being in sort of high school, and you like look around at your group of friends, and you're like, oh, these have been my friends for so long. But then you think back to primary school, and you're like, wait, were they even there?
Yeah.
And you've got like these invented memories of like your best mate being there in primary school, and then you're like, hang on, no, I had a completely different friend group.
For like 5 years of my life, I was dominated by that feeling of like, I'm sure this was different, or like, I'm sure this was like something else or whatever.
Yeah.
Because there's like a few different versions of movies, you know, like they do. Like one release will have like a scene cut out, one will have a scene put in.
Like Paranormal Activity.
Yeah, depending on like regions and stuff like that. And for like 5 years of my life, every time I watched American Pie, a scene was different. And I was like, how is that different? And I was like, I'm pretty sure it happened this way. Like, do you know where he's fucking that apple pie that his mum made? Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure there's like a few different variations of that scene. I've seen one where he's laying down fucking and his dad walks in. There's one where he's like fucking is stood up in the corner of the kitchen.
Yeah, I've seen that. That's the only one I've seen.
And for like every time that scene was on, there was like some slight variation. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? So for 5 years, I was just like, it was all blurring together. I was like, maybe it's all one long scene, and I just don't know. But
speaking of like regional shit, everyone in America has seen Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
And we don't get it until next month.
Yeah, it's mental, isn't it?
The number of spoilers I've like artfully dodged. Not that it's a big deal, like it's only Ant-Man. No. But I really like Ant-Man's just one of those little gems that you just don't expect to be a good film. Because it's like, oh, who cares about Ant-Man? But then you go back and watch it and you're like, this is a good time.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen the Ant-Man, the first one.
Yeah.
Like once.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't a bad movie. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I remember
Paul Rudd just completely makes the film. He's got that Mexican friend as well. He's really funny.
I liked.
It's bad, isn't it? That I didn't know his name, and I was just like, you know, his Mexican friend.
I knew his name. It's like Michael P. something, whatever. But no, I really liked the transition from obviously regular life size shit to the really cool.
Yeah,
minuscule shit.
And like at the end when they start making small things big as well.
Yeah, because did you ever see a movie called Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
No. They made a TV series. I saw a bit of that.
Oh, yeah, it's probably bad. But they made a few movies in there. But whenever they went super small in that, it was like you could tell they were on a set of a movie and everything was just big props.
Yeah.
And I don't know, when I was like Ant-Man, my mind immediately was like, oh, it's gonna be shit when he goes small, but they pulled it off really well.
Yeah,
I really liked it.
There's that really cool scene as well where he goes subatomic as well.
Yeah, I really liked that.
But a bit like Interstellar, that one.
I suppose they didn't go at subatomic.
No, yeah, no, but it's the same sort of trippy stuff.
Yeah.
What is it? Doctor Strange as well did a really good scene like that.
I feel like that was all Doctor Strange was just trippy scenes.
I'd say there was a big major one, and perhaps one at the end when he's actually fighting Dormammu, but I don't know that there were that many. Oh, yeah, because they keep going into the mirror realm, don't they? And everything's just like folding up and shit.
Yeah.
It's sort of an impressive CGI reel more than anything.
Yeah.
I still enjoyed it.
I need to stop saying yeah. I say it a lot.
You say yeah as well.
Yeah.
When you're about to say something, you're like, yeah.
No, well, I say it, but yes.
I know what you're trying to say.
But because I say it so often, it just slurs into yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't really like Doctor Strange as a movie. It was a bit shit.
Yeah.
Like, I can understand why some people liked it. Yeah.
I don't know, like, when I think about watching it, I've got this, like, feeling of, like, it's just kind of boring.
Yeah.
But then you sort of remember those scenes that are impressive technically. And you're sort of like, alright, I'll watch it. But then, yeah, you're right, the story is not great, but I do find sort of the CGI stuff
there's like this
attractive.
There's this trend in superhero movies. So there's like a trend in a trend, if you will, where there's just the villain isn't. You don't give a shit. Like,
yeah, Dormammu is just nothing.
Yeah, it's just this big presence that's coming to destroy the planet, and you're like, I don't care. I didn't spend the last 2 hours of the movie getting to know the planet or the people on the planet. I got the last 2 hours of my fucking life was getting to know Doctor Strange and his accomplices.
Yeah,
and that's all I care about. And it was just, it doesn't matter. They did it in Suicide Squad. They did it in Superman, the fucking Man of Steel. In Avengers, they were going to drop a big city on something and destroy people, and I was like, oh, I don't care. You know, like the whole
made up city as well.
Yeah,
and people still died.
Yeah, for 2 hours of the movie, we weren't in that city. So why the fuck did I give a shit that it just got suspended in the air and it was about to be dropped? You know, that's why I liked Infinity War, because we've spent more than 2 hours getting to know all those characters across various movies, and it was very personal.
Even Thanos, like, we pick up little bits about him throughout the years.
But it was all very personal, the things that were happening, because it wasn't like, oh my god, New York's going to be fucking finger clicked to oblivion. It was like, everyone is going to get finger clicked to oblivion. Well, 50% of every living creature and that means, like, there's a good chance all your favourite superheroes are going to get dusted.
Yeah.
And they were doing their own personal thing to stop it and whatnot, and you just, it felt better. Yeah,
that's a really good point, because, like, in Infinity War, the heroes are going to die. The characters that you've grown to like. But in the other films, it's like, oh, he's going to wipe an imaginary city off the map. And it's like, well, all right. Do I know anyone there?
I don't care about stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like in Man of Steel, there was a big blue beam that was just trying to destroy the Earth or something. And you just saw all these citizens running around fearing for their lives and getting squashed by debris or, you know, killed or whatnot. And I was like, why are you showing me this? I literally don't give a shit.
Yeah.
You know? If, like, I think they tried a little bit with the Lawrence Fishburne and when he was the fucking director of, like, the Daily Bugle or whatever. And it showed us people inside the office throughout the movie.
The Daily Bugle?
Is it the Daily Bugle? Is that the Spider-Man one?
That's the Spider-Man. It's called, like, the Daily Planet or something?
Something stupid like that, yeah. And yeah, we saw a lot, like, quite a bit inside there over the course of the movie, and I think they tried to make us care about those characters, which I'm sure people did, but everyone else I didn't give a shit about.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And also, Zack Snyder directed it, so...
Your arch nemesis.
Fucking hate Snyder. I don't know, honestly, if I ever bumped into him in the real world, it'd be like a supervillain bumping into the superhero. You know, it'd be like the fucking thunder would just descend upon us, the sky had turned black, and I'd be like, Snyder. And I'd probably just say, listen, mate, you owe me so many hours of my life. You've made some shit fucking movies.
Oh, I can't believe I watched the extended version of Batman vs Superman.
Me too. I couldn't get through 20 minutes of it, or like I think it was more like half an hour.
I think it was something like it was about 3 hours long, and it was like 2.5 hours of just really incoherent, mashed together scenes that not all of them seem to have any bearing on anything in the film. And then Batman actually fought Superman for 5 minutes, and then they found out their mum had the same name.
It's like...
But, like, Marvel does that as well. Because all this exposition that didn't have anything to do with the film was actually, you know, for Justice League and whatever else is coming up. I saw a trailer for Aquaman, and it actually looks kind of cool.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I'll go see that. My parents were like, do you want to go see it with us? And I was like, you know what? Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, hang on a minute. It's directed by James Wan. No, thank you.
Oh, I see. But yeah.
He did Insidious and Fast and Furious 7.
Oh, right, okay, then yeah, definitely don't want to see that.
Yeah, I was like, and The Conjuring, I was like, no, I don't like him. I don't like the director.
Oh, that's weird. Why would you look at a guy who's directed Insidious and Fast and Furious and say, "Oh, he's perfect for our demographic"?
It probably just sucked Weinstein's dick.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, Marvel does that as well. They'll like hint towards something that's happening in the future, but they sort of make that exposition part of the story.
Yeah.
What, like, part of the film that you're watching. So it'll be like, this is coming up in a future film, but we're not going to make this whole film about what's coming up. There's stuff happening now, so they make it relevant to what's happening as well. And just sort of put a little faith in the viewers that they're going to be able to pick up on what they're putting down, rather than just being like, open your mouth, I've got some exposition.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of movies that exist purely just to set up another movie later. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen a really good... I don't think I've seen it executed very well. Like, they did it with... well, they tried doing it with the latest fucking... The Mummy movie. Mm-hmm. They were setting up a dark universe, weren't they?
Oh, yeah.
And the
movie... what a weird idea.
The movie flopped, and nothing ever came of it.
Are they not going to do it now?
No, I don't. They might try, but like, I don't think enough people are interested for it.
Yeah. Someone might come along, some genius with really good directorial ideas, and say, "Hey, I can make this work."
If the guy does, he needs to start with remaking The Mummy, but make it faithful to the originals.
Yeah.
Because I've watched them recently.
Get Brendan Fraser back to get some money to pay his alimony.
Brendan Fraser is like, he's such a cool guy, and he was like one of my childhood, movie heroes. Mm-hmm. Him as Rick O'Connell was just one of the best things ever. And it's just so upsetting, like, what's happened to him and how he's turned out and stuff like that. Yeah. That when I watch it, I'm like, oh, poor Brendan Fraser. Mm-hmm. He deserved so much more. Such a bigger shot at becoming an even bigger star. He deserved, like, a huge chunk of Hollywood. He was so good.
Regardless of all that, if he was just an average dude, what a fucking bitch.
Well, his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's ruined his life. There's no remorse there. The guy is struggling.
He's not struggling so much. I think this year he's actually making a bit of a comeback with his acting. He's in a TV series. I forgot what it's called. I think it might be on Netflix or something like that.
Yeah, I heard about it.
Well, like, I think he's a recurring role in it now. He's done some things in the last 2 or 3 years. But I think he's coming back, which is, I hope there's like a new second wave of Brendan Fraser. Yeah, because the Mummy movies were amazing. They're like highest, grossing movies that he's done. And I think if we just put him back in the action hero role, the bit of comedy, he'll shine again.
Yeah, I could see that.
He's like a really humble guy as well. I read an interview. Some guy went to his. He lives in New York, but not like I don't think New York City, but like near there, like in the New York State or something. Yeah. And the interviewer went to his house, and for like the first 20 minutes, he took him over to his, like, cause he bought a horse, and they were just feeding the horse and whatnot. And and Brendan was like, I bought him because I was on the set of some movie, and he looked really lost.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
And I was like, I know, I understood the feeling and whatnot, and everyone needs a place to live, so I bought him. And he was talking about how when they put him on the plane to ship him across states or whatever, everyone was saying it was like the horse he just waltzed on like any other regular passenger would, just straight into the cargo bay and just wanted to get to his new home or something like that. Oh. And it's just nice. He's like a really, really humble guy. He seems really smart as well. Like it was. Yeah. When the interview was, like, obviously writing down what he was saying and stuff like that, and he quoted him word for word, and the shit he was saying just seemed like really woke and and like a humble dude.
Mm-hmm.
And I miss Brendan Fraser. What a dude.
You should, I don't know, like try and get his number. Just give him a call and be like, "Oh, Brendan, do you remember those days? Me and you."
You own my screen. It's not the big screen. It was very small back in those days. But yeah, and like fucking in Scrubs, he had a really amazing role in Scrubs.
No, I've never given Scrubs the time it deserves.
You should, mate. It's very good.
I was watching an episode of Always Sunny on Netflix, which I'm on like season 10 now, I think.
11.
Towards the end, almost 11.
You know, you are in 11.
All right, okay. So I'm on season 11 now, which is so depressing. Like, I want another 10 seasons at least.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying it. But yeah, I was watching that episode, and you, instead of auto playing the next episode, it started auto playing Scrubs, and I was like, no, hang on. So I thought I'd exhausted the catalogue of episodes, so I went back to check, and it had just auto played Scrubs instead. And I was like, what the fuck?
You should watch Scrubs because JD and Turk have got like the same sort of friendship we have.
Oh.
Although theirs is a bit more exaggerated and a bit more like, not homoerotic, but like more bromance than ours. But it's really good, man, and it's worth it as well. 'Cause it's one of those shows where it can be really funny, but then just go really super sad at the flip of a fucking coin. Like it transitions so smoothly.
Yeah.
And I really like it because at the end of every episode as well, like JD sums things up in such a like profound life lesson sort of way.
Yeah, I've seen a few episodes. Like, you were watching it, binging it one time, and I'd gone over to yours, and joined you in binging. It was funny. Obviously I've just never sat down to
binge it like every year.
Start binging it.
It's one of those shows that I just really like, and I'll watch it at least once a year.
Yeah.
Like all the characters.
You've got so many things you do once a year now. You're gonna end up like stuck to a schedule of things you need to do.
But the characters are very well written and stuff like that. Like they don't seem to break character very often.
Yeah.
They always do things that, as you'd expect them to do. Like, oh, that's such a Cox thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's such a JD thing. And it's really fun. There's some episodes where there was one of my favorite episodes, which is really weird, is this woman gets admitted to the hospital and she's had like a brain aneurysm, and from her perspective, like the whole episode's from her perspective, pretty much. There's a few scenes where it's not, but like every time someone talks, she sees them as singing. So like the whole episode's like kind of a musical.
Yeah. And
like there's some really good songs in there. Like it's Guy Love. Like I've sung that a few times while I'm hanging around with you. That's from there. And like I don't know, like there's just a lot of good shit in that movie. Because like whenever you're watching a comedy and they do a musical episode, it's never really good.
Yeah.
But it just felt good in Scrubs. I don't think everyone else likes it, but I was like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Speaking of, last time you were here, when we were binging Always Sunny together, we watched the Nightman episode, which I've never seen before. I fucking love that song, man. Even now, it's just stuck in my head just because I brought it up. They did that musical episode, didn't they? They had this whole musical about the Nightman. It's just so.
Is that the one called The Nightman Cometh?
Probably.
Because Reddit did a massive like tournament thing where they'd pit episodes against each other and people voted and all that, and just to find out like what the best episodes are. I think Nightman Cometh was ranked number 1.
Oh, that's awesome.
So a lot of people like that.
I think the best one I've seen so far is when the health inspector comes.
Charlie, is it called Charlie Work?
Yeah, and he's like they've got a scheme going on, and they're like, "Oh, it's all right. We pass the health inspector all the time." And he's like, "Yeah, because I'm always working my ass off."
Yeah.
So they, he helps them pull off their scheme, keeps them out of the health inspector's way, tidies the whole bar up with a few corners being cut.
Yeah.
And then gets the highest possible grade, and nobody cares.
Yeah.
And they don't even appreciate that it's because of Charlie. They just think that just happens because it happens every time that they pass.
What I really liked about the episode as well is they're all talking about the scheme, and Charlie's like, "What, you doing a scheme? Like, the health inspectors come in and is all like, we're not going to explain it to you, Charlie. You won't understand." And he's like, "No, I understand. You're going to do this and that." And he explains it so perfectly and with such like fucking like articulation. He's like, wow. And they're all like, oh yeah, that's pretty much it. That's exactly it.
I really like that episode where he goes to take a smart pill as part of a test, and he like starts talking Mandarin and doing really impossible equations and stuff. And then at the end, they reveal it was just a placebo. Yeah. And when he was talking Mandarin, he was just talking complete gibberish.
Yeah.
And doing the equations, he was just like,
drawing
star plus S equals square.
Yeah. Oh, I love Charlie. Man.
Oh, Charlie's so funny.
Hilarious guy. I like them all, to be honest.
Yeah. I've started to like Dennis more now.
Yeah.
I think I probably mentioned it last time, but I thought Dennis was, apart from Dee, the most boring character.
Yeah.
But as of the most recent episodes, he's getting crazier and crazier. Like that episode where he drives his Jeep into the river and that guy comes over and he says all the right things. It's like, oh, it's an amphibious vehicle and stuff. And he's like, oh, it's good to talk to a man who knows his stuff. And then he says that he's buying it for his daughter.
Yeah.
And he's like, big on from me, big on.
Yeah. He's like, it's a good beginner car. He's like, beginner car? This is a finisher car.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I like it when he starts like inciting Norse gods and stuff like that.
Yeah. And he calls himself a golden god and things like that.
Yeah. I liked that the high school reunion episode. Have you seen it? Where you must have seen it, because obviously it was a very long time ago.
Yeah.
It's like
we find out the waitress's name is Nikki Potnick.
Yeah.
Because Frank took her label and there was no label for her.
Yeah.
But nobody addresses it. They don't confirm that that's her name.
Yeah, that's what I liked about what I like about that episode is because he steals that fucking the name tag and is all like, you know, this Nick guy is gonna have to find another way, and they're like, nah, Nick is a girl or something. And then later on she's all sloshed and shit, and she's like, fucking someone stole my name tag. I was like, is it her? Is she Nikki?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, everyone just calls her the waitress. Even Charlie, who's like madly in love with her.
Yeah.
But I liked the dance routine where it was going so well. It was amazing. You're like, oh my god, they're doing it. And it just cuts to them all super sweaty, just flailing around and shit.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
It was really good.
As well, another time as well when they go to like Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
And he finds the waitress on the beach, and they like go around collecting bits of glass and seashells together and shit. And then she wakes up on the beach next to him. And turns out she was on acid the whole time. She don't remember any of it.
Yeah, and he's like, but you gave me this little gem or whatever. And he's like, there's a piece of glass, Charlie. Keeps it anyway. Yeah, I like that. I like the fucking Frank steals a ham that's been soaked in rum. Yeah. And then they go on that fucking the dinghy thing, and they're out in the middle of the ocean, and the ham starts floating away, and he's all like, rum ham, I'm sorry, rum ham.
Yeah. And it comes back later when he's sitting on the windowsill because his farts stink. Just Charlie makes him fart out of the window, and he falls out and hits his head, and his memory he forgets everything up to 2006. So Charlie keeps saying he fell through a portal to 2006.
Yeah, that's one of those episodes where they redo everything from the previous episode. Like,
and then
Charlie, fucking Dennis and Dee are on crack again.
Yeah, and
they're trying to get welfare for it. And then Charlie's all like, "You guys are doing crack, trying to get welfare. Please just tell me how this is not 2006 again." Yeah. Well, I really liked the beginning where he just falls out of the window, because it was just the way it was filmed, and that it cracked me up something rotten. You just see him on there, camera pans around, and you just hear Charlie, and you turn around his legs just to fall out the window. And you're like, oh my god. And then he looks up and he's all like, I just fell out the window, and he just panics and runs off. Like, why is he panicking now?
I don't know.
Oh god.
We should stop talking about it though. We don't want it.
Yeah, we could just talk about every episode.
Yeah,
for like the next 10 episodes of this podcast.
So yeah, going back to the list of games that I wanted to talk about. One on, because I managed to talk about Abzu.
Yeah,
I think we talked about the Mummy Demastered a little bit, didn't we?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So another one that I was playing is Yooka-Laylee.
Yeah.
I haven't played it since then, so my memory on it's not what it was. But it's a really, really good, like, nostalgic callback to those sort of games. I never played Rare games like Banjo-Kazooie and Donkey Kong Country sort of thing, which is what it's more inspired on. Oh, I played Conker's Bad Fur Day, obviously.
Yeah.
It feels a lot more like that. Occasionally I'll see something, I'm like, is that a reference to Conker's Bad Fur Day, or...
I'm just going to Google rare games, because I'm pretty sure I would have played a lot of them.
Yeah.
Because they made so many, didn't they?
They did.
Yo, Sea of Thieves is a rare game.
It's like the only thing that
Perfect Dark, I played that.
Xbox has going for it, is that it's got the full rare library.
Yeah. So I played Perfect Dark and Perfect Dark Zero. I played that Cameo. Viva Pinata, I've played that.
Microsoft keep trying to bring Conker back, but they'll like redesign him and try and make him a little more child friendly, and it's like, that's not the point.
Star Fox Adventures was a rare game.
Oh yeah, because they did Nintendo games, obviously they did Donkey Kong.
I knew Battletoads was rare.
Oh, I didn't. That's funny.
Do you not know?
No.
Kinect Sports Rivals bombed a bit. I feel sorry for
that
Rare.
was after Microsoft bought them and they would just like make shit games for us.
Because Rare have got like such an awesome lineup of games that they made that are like, you can guarantee at least one of them is like some guy's childhood game.
Yeah.
And then Microsoft acquired them, and they've not been doing well.
Yeah.
At all. Like making them do Kinect games.
Yeah, exactly.
GoldenEye was a Rare game as well.
Oh well, most people's childhoods then
Yeah.
is just Rare.
And then new Sea of Thieves, but like, that's not so good, is it?
No.
Although the new DLC came out, I'm pretty sure people liked it.
That's good.
But anyway, you were saying about Yooka-Laylee.
Yeah, so it feels very much like a Rare game. It's just a collect 'em up, basically. It's got this cool feature in it, so basically there's certain things you collect in the level. When you have enough of them, not all of them from the level, you can get an excess amount, which is helpful for later in the game. You unlock the next level, and then the next level, and then the next level by collecting these items, which are pages.
Okay.
From some book. I got to level 3, and that level's a bit drab and boring, and I lost interest. It's like a swamp / labyrinth, and all the characters are trolleys that have been thrown in the river.
Okay.
It's really cool how they did that. It's like a parody of how Rare games would like make money come alive, or a talking poo and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So all the characters are like bizarre things. Some not so bizarre, like snowmen sort of thing. But a good homage to that actually is the fact that one of the enemies is just a pair of eyes. And when you get near it, it'll run to the nearest inanimate object, jump on it, and bring it to life.
All right.
Which is a really cool concept, obviously. What was I going to say? Yeah, so you collect these pages to unlock the next level. But when you first go into a level, it's more about learning the abilities that you get from that level. So there's a limited amount of level you can explore, a limited amount of pages you can get. To get more pages, you need to expand the level, which you can use pages to do instead of buying the next level, which is a really cool concept because you go in there the first time, you get as many as you can with the new skills that you've been given, and then if you go back and expand it, it goes beyond those skills that you've got, and other skills from other levels are more helpful, and there's just a lot more to do, a lot more to explore, and I think that's a really cool concept for a game like that, because usually, like, you'll go into a level in a game like that, and you'll see something, and you'll think, oh, okay, how do I do this? And you'll spend ages trying to do it until you give up. And then you'll get an ability, like 10 hours of gameplay down the line, and you'll be like, oh, that's how I was supposed to do it.
Just like Castlevania-ish.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's cool that you can just sort of get as much as you can out of the level, and then go back when you've got more abilities and expand the levels.
Well, it's kind of like Mario Odyssey as well, isn't it? Like, once you finish the game, you can go back and there's so much more you can do.
Yeah. So in 3D Mario games like that, you go in the first time, you do the sort of main story for that, and then the subsequent times that you go in, historically you can pick which star you want to go for and do a series of, you know, puzzles that lead to that star. But the cool thing about Odyssey is that you do what you want. You just go in and you explore and you play with things and find secrets and stuff, and that's what made it so much better than the previous ones. Plus, every time you got a star in the old ones, you were taken out of the level. You had to go back in and choose which star you wanted to go for next. So.
All right, yeah. Do you know what made Mario Odyssey like the best Mario game for me?
It's on Switch.
No, just it being the only Mario game I played.
Galaxy was a good one as well, but that had a lot of flaws. Like everything, instead of planets, like there was a lot of potential for, a lot of more interesting ideas to do with gravity and stuff. But instead, it was just go around this tiny planet, and then jump to a next tiny planet.
Yeah.
Jump to the next tiny planet. There was no like big interesting areas to explore. And
didn't we watch something on YouTube recently that like broke all the gameplay down?
Yeah, explains it quite well. Yeah, so Barry Kramer of Game Grumps, while he was still Game Grumps, he started this series called How About This Game? Or How About That Game? Something like that. And it was really, really cool, and he just talks about really interesting game theory and stuff, all sort of stuff that we're into. So I think he's still part of Game Grumps, but he doesn't really do anything except maybe behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And he's been working on his own YouTube channel, which you should definitely check out because the videos on there are really good about game theory. And there's one on there at the moment about Super Mario Galaxy, which sort of explains what I'm trying to explain, but a lot better than I'm doing it.
Yeah, well, you would have had a long time to write out a big script and all that.
Yeah. So before I move on to the next item on the agenda, how are we doing for time?
We're about 40 minutes in.
All right, that's great. Plenty of time for me to talk about my latest game, which
Octopath Traveller.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot. If you follow us on Twitter and Instagram, which you should, you'll see I've been posting screenshots from it because I just can't get over how it looks. This is the only reason I bought it, by the way.
What, just because how it looks?
Because of how it looks. Because I've played games like this before, sort of like third-party Final Fantasy-esque RPGs, and usually the story just falls flat. And they just, try and make a Final Fantasy game. And they never do it as well as Final Fantasy did it. But they did a really good job. But I didn't know that at first, obviously. The only reason I bought the game was because of how it looked. So I really like sprite art, as you can probably tell from our branding. It's one of the things that I can quite easily just get into and start doing without much preparation or anything. I'm into 3D modelling as well, which you might also know from following us on Twitter and Instagram. And I really, really like depth of field, sort of macro effects and tilt shift blurs and stuff like that. It's like my favourite effect to add to an image. I don't know why, but for me personally, it gives it brings more out of the image. Whilst taking stuff away.
I'm very guilty of abusing tilt shift blur.
Yeah, same.
Very, very guilty. I use it on a lot.
Oh yeah, because sometimes, I used to do your job, which is to create sort of like graphics for minor league sports clubs, sort of thing. And sometimes they'll give you a drone shot of their club, and I'm like, oh yes, tilt shift.
Yeah. Like it even works with just like if they send me an image of like players, like a really high res image of like a player kicking a ball or something like that. I'll throw that in the background and I'll tilt shift that as well.
Yeah.
And I'll let the image bleed up onto the header, and the header will be all blurred. And it just looks really clean.
Yeah, that's
and fantastic.
what I used to do as well. Yeah.
But it's also good for like hiding imperfections.
Mm-hmm.
If I've had to bash two photos together and do a lot of masking and whatnot, sometimes there'll be some artifacts left over.
Yeah.
And like the best ways to get rid of it that I've found are like luminosity mode. Making it black and white or just blurring those bits.
Mm-hmm. One of the best things for me, I think, about tilt shift and depth of field and stuff is it's really militant about where your focus goes.
Yeah.
Because you look at an image just taken flat with no depth of field. A, it's pretty flat. There's not much depth. B, there's a lot going on usually, especially with like sports photography when there's a big crowd in the background. Bang some depth of field on that, the crowd's blurred, the crowd turns into these awesome bokeh fucking hexagons, and it just looks so much better. Your focus is on the player, you know where it should be. Not that you need to know where, but I don't know. I'm trying to justify it. I don't know why I feel like I need to justify it, but I do really enjoy that effect.
It's like psychology. If you throw a depth of field on a photograph of a player kicking a ball and there's like a huge crowd in the background, a lot of people will just draw their eye to the player anyway.
Yeah.
But, like, putting depth of field on it just kind of like gives them a helping hand. Like,
it makes them stand out more.
Yeah, this is where your eyes should focus.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like to throw a black and white filter on it and just put a mask over the players so the players are in full colour.
Yeah.
And then I'll blur the background a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So just things pop out and whatnot.
Yeah.
A lot of people seem to like that when I do that for them. So
yeah,
it's a good go-to. But Octopath Traveller.
Yeah, so going back to Octopath Traveller, it combines all three of those things. So you've got a 3D environment with sprite textures. The character models are sprites, and there's some smaller minor things like chests are sprites.
Yeah.
And, signposts are sprites, because I don't think it'd be an elaborate 3D model. The effect is, achieved otherwise. So, and then they throw this tilt shift effect on it, so everything in the background is really blurred and stuff like that. But again, the best thing about it is it gives depth to it. So not only have you got this 2D environment that's taken into a 3D world, the depth of field really accentuates that and exaggerates the depth that's there. And because everything's on such a small scale, because it's sort of like 32-bit tiles, like a chest will fit in 32-bit characters, like two 32-bit tiles stacked. The tilt shift effect also makes it feel small, as though you sat playing with it.
Yeah.
At a table, like loads of miniature figures.
Yeah,
and stuff.
like it's a little toy set.
Yeah, exactly. Which is just a real nice effect.
That's what like drew me to the tilt shift thing in the first place. When you saw gifs of like a cityscape at night and someone's throwing tilt shift on it, looks like a little model set.
Yeah. Or like those time lapses of cars driving down a highway and they tilt shift it and it looks like little toy cars bombing down the street. Yeah, it's really good.
That's what drew me to it in the first place, and it's a really fun effect, man.
Yeah,
it's crazy how like just a bit of blur can do that.
That's what drew me to getting this phone as well, my Note 8, because I was just going to get an S8, but then the Note 8's got the dual camera with the live focus so that you can change the depth of field afterwards, and I just had to have that. Yeah.
It's a very handy feature, isn't it? Like for photographers, there should be cameras that do that. There might be. I'm not sure. I'm not.
There definitely are. Most cameras have a macro setting, which is for taking close-ups, and it'll give you that exaggerated depth of field.
No, yeah, I mean, like, you should be able to take a photo and then edit
and change it afterwards. Yeah,
afterwards on a camera.
Yeah,
like obviously I know about like lenses and all that shit on a camera. It's pretty standard shit. But like taking the camera with a lens, just any lens on, and then being able to edit afterwards, like without the use of Photoshop.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think they'd do that.
Well, with a lot of digital cameras these days, it's usually just like basically Instagram filters.
Yeah. Can you imagine though if they did make a camera that had photo editing capabilities built into it after you've taken the photograph? How much like Photoshop and Lightroom subscriptions would just drop?
Yeah,
it'd be mental.
Yeah, it wouldn't be in the best interest of.
I think Adobe
they would
shit
probably
themselves.
No, they would probably buy out whoever's making the software for it, and then they'd be like, "Oh, your camera comes preloaded with Adobe photo editing software." Adobe's never made a thing in their life. They just buy everyone else's ideas.
Yeah, I noticed that.
That's why even though like things like Photoshop and Illustrator are so similar, and they can work together, there's still some sort of dramatic differences in like how they process images and stuff like that, and like.
Yeah, I find it crazy how, like 10 years ago, if you look at the Adobe software suite, it was very, very, very small. And you look at it now, and they're just making software for fun.
Yeah,
they've got like 10 different mock-up softwares for different programs and different uses and stuff like that.
They do have some really cool stuff like that I've only just recently discovered. Like, if you work in a big marketing team, you'll usually have a copywriter.
Yeah,
just somebody who makes the text for everything, and there's a really good collaboration program for that, which allows graphic designers and copywriters to work together, where copywriters can go into it and add text, sort of in like an InDesign type system, and then the designer can go in and format that text and add imagery and stuff, and turn that into a magazine and stuff like that, which is just really useful.
Yeah, I think
I would like. It feels weird that I don't know how to use it because that's my thing. I'm good with creative software, but I've had no reason to learn to use it.
You should probably bring it up at work, Mark will probably fucking love you for it. You know, like...
No, I have brought it up at work, because we did used to have a copywriter, but we don't anymore, so it's kind of just lost its use. Yeah.
Well, as soon as you get a copywriter again, you should try and get that used, because I'm pretty sure Mark would like you for, like, making the pipeline a bit more efficient.
Yeah.
Probably get another raise. But yeah, I think I came across that software you're talking about when I was looking at the library last time.
Yeah.
I was like, I just wish I had a use for it. I want to be in a situation where I'd need that. It looks exactly. Fun to use.
I don't know, it's probably the technology of it that's drawing us to it.
I don't know. I really like working in creative fields, and I reckon if you could work as a team in a creative field with apps like that, it'd be amazing.
Yeah, like, there needs to be more collaboration software like that, especially with like graphic designers and stuff. The amount of times, like, we have 3 graphic designers. One is a UI designer, the other one's sort of like a video editor / freelancer. He's not there all the time. And then there's me who does like graphics and web design and stuff like that. And the amount of times, like, I'll be asked to make a UI design for whatever reason, and then I'll send it to the UI designer, and he'll be like, all right, cool, good base to go off, and then he'll send back something completely different, and I'm like, could have gone to him first.
Yeah.
But collaboration software would be really good for that.
Like GitHub. I so want a use.
I've started using that because
a reason to use GitHub.
All of our source files for our main website are on there, and I've started making changes to that as well. So.
It's really like useful.
It's crazy how it works.
Yeah, you can write script for GitHub and stuff like that, can't you? For like certain commands and shit. It's pretty cool.
The way it works is because, like, if you have a huge website and you've got a massive team of devs that are constantly making changes to it, somewhere down the line something's going to get broken. So what a dev would do is they'll come off the main tree, which is the main build of the website, and they'll make a branch, and then they'll put all their changes in that branch, and then you'll have like a supervisor who's in charge of the dev team, who will go in, make sure that pulling that branch into the main tree won't affect everybody else's projects, won't affect the main build, and then once they're confident with that, we have a system in place that automatically checks it, which was built by somebody else, some web design company somewhere. And then once that's confirmed as safe, then you pull it into the main build and delete that branch. Yeah,
it's CMS, content management system, something like that. It's just so you can help. Everyone else can, if you're working on something, you can just put it in the pipeline, and when everyone else is done and all that shit, exactly. you just drop it in there and stuff like that. It's really fun. I want like an excuse to use all this shit. I want to. Probably not in the current field that I'm in, but like if I built like a game dev studio or something like that, I'd be like, yes, let's use all of the things.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So going back to Octopath Traveller, going past the sort of graphics, which I'm completely in love with, the gameplay is actually really complex and interesting. So there's no set level to every quest. It sort of scales depending where you are, where you started the game. The reason it's called Octopath Traveller is because there are 8 stories which all eventually merge, presumably, into one big finale.
So 8 story paths, basically. Octopath.
Yeah, so you choose which one you want to start with. I chose the Hunter, which was a very good shout because the Hunter has skills which are just so valuable compared to everybody else's, especially in combat. And then you sort of complete that introductory storyline to that character, and then you'll get another quest somewhere else far off in the map, which is a bit too high level for you to go to it straight away. So then you'll go to a different town where one of the other characters' story starts, play through the start of their story, and then they'll join the team. You'll finish their story with them, and then you'll move on to the next one. So I've done that 5 times so far, so I've got 5 out of the 8 characters. They all have different unique skills, different ways that they can help out. So they all have like an overworld skill, which you can use with NPCs. So the Hunter can... I can't remember what the word is for it, but you talk to somebody and you can start a fight with them, basically, as training. If you beat them, your reputation in town goes up. Okay. I don't know what that means because it hasn't been useful to me yet, and I've played like 8 hours of it. So, and then you also have. What the fuck is going on with me? It's super warm in this room.
It is really warm in this room.
So the next character I got, I skipped 2 characters by accident because I was just exploring how cool everything looked. The next character I got was the merchant. Her story's pretty cool. She starts off in this like port town. She's got an interest in treasure. I mean, she's a merchant. She likes valuable objects, and so she comes across pirates. And there's this whole thing with pirates that you've got to resolve. Her overworld skill is to barter with people. You can go up to any NPC and start a trade with them and buy things from them, which is really cool, but I feel like with the latest character I got, it's a bit redundant.
Yeah.
I also got a scholar, who was the third character I went to get. He's basically a mage. He's got lots of area of effect attacks, and he can use fire damage, ice damage, electric damage. His overworld skill is to scrutinize people, which is helpful sometimes for quests. Like if you need some information for a quest, a side quest, you can get that by scrutinizing people. Sometimes you won't learn anything, but every character has this little backstory written for them. So you scrutinize that NPC and you get their backstory, who they are, how many divorces they've had, where they came from. So that's really cool, sort of like the world building effort that went into that. And sometimes they'll reveal a hidden item in the area, and there'll just be this little sparkle flashing somewhere. You find it, you get a free item, which is really cool. The next character I got was a cleric. Her story was pretty boring because it's all sort of religious. The worship of flame, and her adopted father is a priest, and he's dying or something.
Yeah,
it's
he's
yada
been
yada.
diddling her the whole child.
But that area looks really cool because it's sort of snowy, and when the sort of depth of field effect kicks in on the snow, you can see these like glisten bouquets coming up.
Yeah.
From obviously the snow sparkling, which is a nice little effect.
Do you know what you should do? You should use that character who can, rob shit from NPCs, and then like start a bartering system with them and sell it back to them. That's what I used to do on.
I don't know that you can sell. I think you can only buy from random.
I think that's what I used to do on Oblivion. Was it? I don't know.
Yeah, probably Oblivion.
This thing that's happening at the moment is, like we said at the beginning of this episode, it could have been Skyrim, but I'm picturing it in Oblivion, and it looks fine to me. So I was going to say it was Oblivion. You couldn't sell stolen items to people. You had to sell them through your thingies, didn't you? Fences.
Yeah.
But what I used to do instead was every shop had a certain amount of gold that they could, use to barter with you.
Mm-hmm.
So because I made a stealthy character, a Khajiit, the cat ones.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was my jam back then. I didn't want to make human-looking characters. I wanted to play Argonian.
Yeah, I was always Argonian.
So I made a super stealthy thief character, and I'd go in the shop, walk around the corners, go into stealth mode, and then just sneak up behind them, steal the money they were going to use to barter with me, go around the front, stand up just immediately, like hi,
and then buy something.
And then just buy something from them with their own money.
Yeah. So yeah, as you said, the fifth character and the final one I've got so far is a thief. His story's been pretty boring. He tried to steal something from a mansion, but really they only put so many guards there to attract him, to think there was some treasure there, so that they could convince him to go around collecting Dragon Balls for him. He's been pretty cool in combat so far, and again, his ability is to steal things from people, which sort of makes the barter ability kind of
pointless,
redundant, because I can just go behind people and steal whatever
Maybe
they've got.
There's like chances of different items or something like that.
There's a chance of success. So far, it's always been 100%. I don't know what affects that, but I imagine as I get further in the game, that chance of success for pickpocketing people will slowly go down. Probably based on the rarity of the items as well.
But like, you might be able to pickpocket a cool piece of armor or something like that, or whatever you can get, and then you can maybe barter with a guy afterwards and get like a sword or something.
Yeah.
Maybe you can steal the loot tables for the thieving and bartering.
Yeah, probably is different. Yeah. So moving on into the combat of the game, the really interesting thing about the combat is that all the enemies have weaknesses, and there are so many different damage types. You've got fire damage, ice damage, lightning or electricity damage, wind damage, light damage, and dark damage, and sword damage, dagger damage, spear damage, halberd damage, bow damage, there's a few different types of weapons as well. Yeah, there's a staff as well.
Right.
If you hit an enemy with something that they're weak against, it'll log that then, so that whenever you fight that enemy again, you can see that on the bottom, and you can say, okay, so if I hit him with that weapon, I'll do more damage. And they have this shield icon with a number in it. Once you get that number reduced down to 0 so if you hit them once with something they're weak to, that goes down by 1 number. If you get that to 0, they become stunned. They miss a turn. They miss the rest of the turn that you stunned them on, so if they haven't attacked yet, they won't. And they miss the next turn. And they take double damage, so you can just batter the fuck out of them while they can't defend themselves, basically. And then, so there's different skills. So the character might have a weapon that they're weak to, or they might have like a spell that they're weak to. The hunter is really good because they have skills and 2 weapons, a bow and a halberd, and the, what's it called, beast log or something like that, which lets them capture enemies and then bring them out in a battle, and that enemy might have something that they're weak to as well, like fire or a bow or a spear or something. So there's so many different ways you can get them into that stunned state, and then when they're in that stunned state, you want to use the boosts that you've been saving up. So every turn you get a boost point, or battle point, or whatever you want to call it. And if you press R1, that'll boost your attack. So maybe if you're using a spear, you'll strike twice instead of once. Or if you're using a spell, it'll do twice as much damage. And you can keep pressing that for as many points as you have, up to 4, and do 4 times the number of attacks. So I like to save those for when an enemy's in a stunned state, and then just let loose with all the boost points to do like 8 times damage.
Yeah.
So it's just really complex, and I've failed a couple of battles, especially against bosses, and then you'll come back to that after failing, and you'll be like, okay, I sort of know how, like, I know more of the weaknesses, I know sort of like a good rhythm to get into, I know when to heal, what attacks to avoid, sort of thing. Obviously it's turn-based as well. It's just really, really interesting and complex game, and more complex than I expected it to be. The fact that you can do 8 different stories in any order you want, because all the areas scale based on where you are in the game when you get to that point. The enemies will be stronger, the bosses will be stronger. Like the boss you saw me fight earlier when I was showing you the game, that was quite difficult for me, but if I'd gone to that one first and started with the thief, it would have been super easy.
Yeah.
They scale it by, giving them attacks that they didn't have before, giving them more health that they didn't have before, giving them support enemies as well, like the little knight that kept reappearing when I was fighting that butler guy.
So we've got like just under 8 minutes left, I'd say.
Okay.
And I want to talk about No Man's Sky just for the last few minutes, because when we first saw the game, like anyone else, we were super excited for it.
Yeah,
it looked amazing, and I couldn't wait to like zip around the fucking universe with my friends.
Yeah,
but then it dropped, and it was not the game that we were led to think it was.
Well, that wasn't sort of an immediate realization. Sorry, my leg's stuck and I'm hitting the table. Because I came up to yours and you were playing it, you were super excited about it, you were enjoying it, and I was like, oh my god, I need to have this game. It was a time just before I got my job. I was in between sort of years of uni, and I borrowed some money from my girlfriend to get that game. Really excited about it. Played it for a few days and then just sort of realised, maybe this game isn't that great after all.
Like I kept giving Hello Games the benefit of the doubt, and I was like, maybe it's definitely not the game that I thought it was going to be, but maybe there's some patches coming or something like that.
I think a big part of that was that it was just this small indie team, and they got signed by Sony, and it was like, whoa,
yeah,
look how they made it, and that inspired us so much, me, you, and Danny, that we made our own little game development team. We'd meet up once every 2 weeks and share our game ideas, share what we'd been working on, concept art, 3D models, actual games, stuff we'd been learning from this Unity course we were doing.
Yeah, but Danny realised that programming's quite difficult, and he didn't have the brain juice for it, and you didn't have a lot of time.
Yeah, well, I made a game for my final project at uni, and then just sort of left it after that, because I just never had any time after that. I started working full time, and that was it.
But yeah, it all fizzled pretty quickly. But the No Man's Sky it was. If it was like if I paid like £10 for it, it would have been amazing. Like I would have like, yeah, this is alright for a £10 game.
Yeah.
But everyone paid like £40 at least for it, you know, and it wasn't the game that we wanted. And I got the platinum on it pretty quickly.
Right. I don't think I ever did, and I've sold it now, which is weird, which is annoying even because I kind of want to get it back.
Yeah.
Because it looks kind of good now.
Yeah, and anyway, like they patched some stuff, and then they patched some more stuff, and like 2 years later, so like a few days ago, as of this recording, they finally released another big patch they just called it Next, and it finally feels like the game that we were fucking told about originally.
I was just gonna say that it's not quite there,
not yet,
but it's a lot more like what we were expecting. Which just turned out to be an RNG.
It's like
it's
Explorer. There, but it's like it's just entered the room. It's still trying to get its bearings. And, there's still some janky things about it.
Are the planets a bit more exciting now?
Well, I'm still in the first system because I didn't back up my save, where I was super rich. Had all the best, I had the best multi-tool, the best fucking ship and all that. Yeah. I didn't back it up, so I had to start from scratch. So I'm just about to build a warp drive so I can finally leave the system. Yeah. But I mean, the system in the moment is all right. There's a super hot fucking planet that I started out on, and that was really frustrating trying to gather resources and stuff. Yeah. When it's like 60 odd degrees and my suit's failing. Yeah. But I got off that planet and I settled down on a planet that he wanted me to do a bunch of quests on.
Yeah, you sent me a picture of a little shack that you made, and that was really nice.
Yeah, that's a little.
That looks really cool. There wasn't sort of that capacity in the game before.
No, there wasn't. I think like a year later they added base building.
Yeah, it just wasn't enough for me to go back to it though.
Yeah, same. It was
like the reason we got it was because it was like this endless universe that you could explore with a friend, and then it turns out there's such like a 0.0001% chance of bumping into a friend. Yeah. So much so that the one time it happened and was recorded, it made the news.
Well, yeah. Two people ended up in the same system or something, and they went on the same planet and they couldn't see each other. And it happened really, really soon after the game dropped as well. It was like, wow. Anyway, a year later they added base building, and I think you could see people on the same planet as you, but they were represented by orbs. Yeah, I remember. Whereas now, another year later, you can actually start a lobby and all that. And
you can matchmake and shit.
You can. I don't know if you can matchmake.
Oh well, what I meant is get your friends.
You might be able to join random people's servers. I've not tried the online bit yet. Yeah. Because I just want to get my ship all up and running so I can go off and do shit. But in the space stations, there's like a Stargate thing, teleporter. Yeah. So I assume that's how you do it. Like your friend starts off trillions of miles away, and you might be able to just teleport to that space station, and you can go around and whatnot. You can even build a little teleporter down where your base is and link it to other star systems. So even if you travel to the center of the universe, you can probably still teleport back to that base trillions of miles away. But so far, it's been really good. It's been fun walking around in third person. Graphics are a bit better. Do you remember how every bit of foliage was apart from unless it had an actual model, but every bit of foliage was just like a sprite. Yeah. And wherever you went, it followed. Facing, yeah. I think they did away with that maybe a year ago or something, but I hadn't played it for 2 years, and so I got into it and everything looks fine. It's got photo mode, and it works in multiplayer as well. Oh, that's cool. So we can both just go and find something really cool, take a photograph of, pose our characters, and we can each just get different photo opportunities and stuff. Or you could be doing the photo, and I could be running around posing and shit like that. It's really fun. I can't really speak much about it because I've played for about 4 hours, and 2 of those hours I was stuck on a water planet with no fuel for my ship. I saw it because they said when they were marketing the game, when they're promoting in that there was different planets that had different ecosystems, and one would some might have moons and some will have rings and stuff like that. And when the game came out, the planets were all shit. There was no variation or anything like that. When I first got into space after I found my ship and fixed it up and I could leave a fucking planet, the first thing I saw was a fucking planet with a ring system on it. Oh, and so as soon as I was allowed to, I went and fucking just bombed straight there, went into the planet, and it was a fucking water planet. And I was flying around for like 10 minutes, and I found a bit of land, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go see what's over there. Maybe there's something really cool with it being a water planet. And then I landed, and I was like, oh shit, I don't have any fuel to take off anymore. So I had to go and swim for like an hour to find another bit of land. And and it was lucky enough that land had some, it's called, I think it's like hydrogen, like dehydrogen now, something like that, or dihydrogen, I don't know. That's the fuel now. And I managed to just get an island that had a little deposit of that on there, and I was like, thank fuck, and I had to swim all the way back again. And then I got off. I went to other planets, but it looks good, man. I'm feeling good about it. I'm gonna keep playing it. Might not play it as long as I did before because I've already done everything. I've got all the trophies.
Yeah, I want to get the plat on it. Just talking to you about it makes me want to play it. But obviously I don't have it anymore, and I don't know. I feel like this will make the price jump up again. So
I don't know. It's really fun, and I want to play it with some friends.
Yeah,
I think it'd just be fun. Like,
I suppose your copy is digital.
No, it's before I started buying digital games.
No.
I was gonna say as well, you can buy freighters and stuff. You can have massive fucking ships now, and you can make your own little fleet of ships, and you can send them out on missions and stuff. But anyway, that's like 1 hour 10 minutes now. So let's wrap this up. And
thank you for listening. Really appreciate that. You can find us on Twitter. I might not have ever mentioned this before, but we are on Twitter at UT2cast. We post daily highlights on there. We're also on Instagram, Untitled-2 podcast. Post daily highlights on there as well. It's sort of a photography-based platform, so I do post some like photos every now and then. Been posting some 3D models I've been working on this week. So yeah, just check us out on there. Follow us around a bit. You might like what you see. If you're not the kind of person that can listen to an hour and 10-minute podcast every week, then there's plenty of content on there for you to enjoy without ever having to listen to a podcast. And that would just be fine by us. So we'll see you next week.